whisperers say, 'cause they whisper too loud for me. Pack up your troubles in your old kit bag. Okay, I think we're live. Just doing the last little bits, posting to Instagram. I was going to post YouTube Shorts, but have I posted? Have I just posted to my personal Instagram? I don't think I have. Listen, I'll let people know that I'm going live. Can you hear me in the chats? I should probably have both chats open. Probably help a lot. And then we'll see how we go from here. Just let people join in. Stream ending. Oh, I got the wrong Poxy stream up. Hang on. Right. Okay, let's post that twins. No, that's the wrong thing, Ryan. I wanted to post that. There we go. Right. Add location. Cock and mouth. Okay, I think people are joining now. Oh, sorry, I can't be asked to add location. I'll just upload it. Right. Hello, hello. Wait, where's my thing? Hang on. There it is. Hello, hello. Oh, hang on, my camera's wonky. It's all gone horribly, horribly wrong. Wait, lean that forward like that, and then the clip goes like, there you go. It fell off last night. Or earlier. All of those. One of the things. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you can see, we have a blank tier list, and here we have a bunch of historical figures. Now, I've already seen in the chat, you're expecting Alexander to be on S tier. What I'm having an issue with is I very quickly skimmed this. I can't see Alexander. There's a little button here for me to add people in. I really should have muted that. No, that's... There we go. Right. So, the premise of this is obviously King Baldwin IV of Jerusalem has gone very, very viral on... Hang on, sorry, I just seen someone. There we go. Okay, Karl Marx is in, like, below F tier already. That's... I just saw him, and I immediately knew we're throwing Marx. Actually, let's... While we're here... we'll just speed run through the Nazis. Mao, you can go in there. Which one's that? That Tito. Oh, no, that's not Tito. That's one of the Nazis again. That's... Okay, my history knowledge is failing. It's because it's not World War II history. Hang on. Nazi High Command. Wait, I need to put... Not Goebbels. It's a Goering. That's Goering, isn't it? Well, that's Goering. Yes, Hermann Goering. Okay, right, Hermann Goering. Okay, we're off to a strong start. So as you can tell, it's a tier list. Oh, there's Alexander. There we go. Now I've moved the Nazis and Karl Marx out of the way. I can see him. Baldwin isn't on, or he might be on there, to be fair. If I didn't see Alexander, there's a good chance Baldwin's on here somewhere. So the aim of this is if I don't know much about the historical figure, then we'll research them. But basically, it's a regular tier list, so we can talk about them. So... and we can talk about why I think they're going where they are. And obviously the chat, you can you can get involved and elaborate. Hang on, I'm just putting in the Discord that I'm live because professionalism. There we go. Right. I should also probably link that on my Instagram. I'll check it in a second. Bit sus having an SS as legendary, huh? It's Divinity. What? Don't have anyone in legendary. Oh, I just noticed that. That is it. That is. I think they've got it because it's like S is like S tier. You can't go any higher than S tier, and so they've tried to figure out So if Theodore Roosevelt doesn't go in S tier, there will be issues. Right, here's the thing. Chat, you will be able to argue with me that I am placing someone in the wrong place. Like Karl Marx, racist, anti-Semite, like, possibly the word, like, gay, paved the way for this man, right? Like, evil incarnate. I despise Karl Marx with such, as you know, I don't judge. Jesus would be mad if I was judging people. But Jesus probably doesn't like Karl Marx either. I'm joking, big man. Please don't be mad at me for that joke. Yeah, I don't like Karl Marx. If you see, I've never met a Karl Marx simp who also, like, wasn't a hardline racist and anti-Semite as well. Well, no, we're not doing politics, right? Actually, we're not doing politics. That's as far as we're going into Karl Marx, because people will start getting mad at me. And whilst it's funny, yeah, I don't want to be brutally beaten by a Karl Marxian. I think to be careful to upset the curly girly, it's you. I've been trying to find you in your amazing tash for months. Hello, Holly. Glad you joined. Sorry you had to join in the middle of my Karl Marx rant. But yeah, Karl Marx just not very nice. He wrote a book called The Jewish Question, and that's all we need to know about him. Which leads me on to the next guy who I've immediately put into atrocities that should have never been born. The Austrian painter and his entire fan club. Also, thank you all to everyone over on YouTube as well. I should probably start that. I've seen a few people where I'm gonna... If Cromwell's in this list, he's going in this here as well. We all know my views on Cromwell. I need people I like. Well, Alexander obviously be an S tier. Thank you for the hearts, Holly. But yeah. But the Austrian painter and his fan club, obviously not very friendly to Jewish people. You know, kind of... Himmler should be in last tier. Himmler is not here yet. Where is Himmler? He's in this list somewhere. Yeah, also, if you didn't know, the Austrian painter only got one testicle, and if you'd get that reference, I'm very, very happy for you. I wonder if I could actually like Hitler. Has only got one ball, the other is in the Alba Hall. Or you've got the other version, who's like Hitler has only got one ball, his mother bit it off when he was small. There's a lot. It's very vulgar, that song. That's Goebbels. The little, you know, like he had little man syndrome, 100%. The man, like, and he simped for. That's the fact that all. I mean, obviously not Mao. But like the fact that all of the Nazi high command were like such over the top simps for Hitler. We're just gonna say the name. Fuck your censorship. Like that's the fact that, like, I mean, fun fact, a lot of the Nazis were gay, which is why Hitler tried to purge them all. Which I do find funny, like the fascist high command, the brown shirt, I'm called brown shirts, were like, hey, we need to like purge the gay away because our fascist party is too gay. And it's just bring that up to neo-Nazis, they get very upset for some reason. I'm amazed that no one's brought up homo-nationalism there. Next to Hirohito is Himmler. Right, people wait, is Himmler, Himmler's last row? We'll get to him at some point. Hirohito is next to Himmler. Wait, we'll get this. Mate, I was playing Among Us last night in my Discord, in Count Daedalus's Discord, and I missed everyone. So clearly, I'm not very good at spotting people. There's a lot in the openings that are gonna go on the bottom on atrocities that should never have been born. We're gonna get controversial. I don't know who that is, if I'm brutally honest. If you recognise people that I don't know, my World War II history is good, but it's very, very niche for high command, so I'm just assuming if you're... I mean, to be fair, it's a fairly safe assumption that if they're a Nazi... like, I see the little cross there. It's hard, because also you've got Prussian uniforms, and Prussian uniforms, you know, Prussia was the militaristic power. Like how do you corrupt such an interesting culture as Prussia? Like Prussian culture is actually very. I know obviously like it gets a bad rep because all the military history bros are like, which also that's a live stream I want to do, is just going over how dumb it is to attack military history fans, because everyone has a history they're into. I quite like ancient cultures. Particularly Mesopotamian, sort of like Near East, Middle Eastern cultures. I'm getting into more Eastern European history. I need to learn more Asian history. As I'm starting to try and get reading time and stuff. It's very difficult when doing my own YouTube channel, and I'm also doing work now as well. To find time. Right, I believe this is Guy Fawkes coming up here. So we're actually getting to some nuanced people, some interesting people. Henry VIII was a great. What is this video? So this is. So what we're looking at here is. Colty over on the TikTok side. We're doing a tier list basically where Baldwin the Fourth has gone so aggressively viral over the last few days. I'm going to add that to my story actually, so I can. No, that's Messenger. I don't want to share it to Messenger. I want to post it to my story. Like Instagram. God damn it, Zuckerberg. So yeah, we're back. Well, I'm just comparing because I've also done a very funny. Well, I say funny. A TikTok taking a mick out of people, like calling Alexander the Great boring over Baldwin the Fourth. I don't think Baldwin's in this list, so I might have to add him. We can pick. I mean, there's a very obviously easy pictures of Baldwin to add, but Guy Fawkes is nuanced. I've done a whole live stream on Guy Fawkes with. Shush. I've done a whole live stream on Guy Fawkes with Trip Ainsworth, the author of the Smoke Pit Fairy Tales, and also History Revealed. Most of you'll probably know him for his political and historical discussions. Obviously, he gets a lot more into politics than I do. I dip my toes into politics occasionally when I'm on other people's channels. You'll never have me going on about politics on this channel. I say after I just did a write about Karl Marx. When I say politics on this channel, I mean politics like post 1990, maybe. I try not to veer too modern because people get very sensitive. But to be fair, actually, no. If we're getting into the Balkans, people get sensitive about politics that happened 2,000 years ago. I'm looking at you, North Macedonia. So Guy Fawkes, right? I'm gonna put him in C tier. Now, he would be here because he wanted to blow up Parliament. Sorry, FBI. I didn't finish it in Minecraft in game. In game. In real life, he would be up here because an anarchist, a rebel, anti-government, anti-everything, absolute legend. But he was a religious extremist, and that really, really bugs me. The issue I have with Guy Fawkes is, one, he wasn't the ringleader of the group. He wasn't the man who was coming in to... he wasn't, like, he had genuine grievances with the government of England at that time. He had real grievances and valid grievances. My issue with Guy Fawkes is because it was entirely religious extremism. Obviously, Catholics were being persecuted quite heavily during the reign of James I. Was James I, wasn't it? Yeah. But unaliving that many people, I mean, obviously, it's, you know, again, they were very, very justified in what they were doing. And they were only attacking elites, so they weren't harming civilians. My issue, again, though, is that he's not freedom fighting. By that point, the plot was entirely to just replace Protestant oppression with Catholic oppression, which I don't like. So he wasn't a true anarchist. He's held up, and I've held him up in that regard. I've held him up in that space of like this anarchist, this anti-elitist hero. When you get into the nuances, the reason he's taken on that image for people like me, who the disenfranchised, the people who really do not like the way the world's governments, it's really hard to not do politics and history. But the way that the world is turning, the way it's turning towards authoritarianism, yada, 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 is because he was against authoritarianism. The issue is he wanted to replace it with his own authoritarianism. So he's C tier for those drawbacks. This is going to be like when I got very mad at Wendigoon for putting Nessie so low. Are you in live chat or top message? History Daddy. I'm looking at both TikTok and YouTube chats. That's why I'm struggling. You find his name. Should we research them in case they're like spies or something? You can do. If you manage to image search. I mean, this is the tier list. I probably should have put this in the. I can do that live, can't I? BT and not see. No, I don't like extremism. I'm friends with Count Daedalus. Like though, Daedalus has put me off a lot of more extremist things. So I don't like an extremist one-sided argument. Good to see you back, King. I haven't seen you in a while. So what's wrong with Catholic extremism is the message I was laughing at earlier. Guy Fawkes is an absolute legend, but I mean, he's taken on that legend from a modern, more anarchistic, more libertarian standpoint. Both left-wing and right-wing, he's seen very much as an anti-authoritarian hero. The only reason he's been dragged down is because of that extremism. Because it's not for the right reasons. It's not for the people. It's for his people specifically, and he does inhabit a nation where there are other people in. And it's not like every single Protestant in England at that time was pure evil. The same as there wasn't every Catholic. We are venturing into territory that I don't want to talk about, so let's move on. I feel like that's Isabella of Spain. Can I reverse image search? Ah, hang on, wait. I don't know. I clicked on the image. I don't want Google Lens. I want Reinhard Heydrich. Oh no, he is definitely deserving of that spot. He's definitely deserving that spot. You. Jose Antonio Primo. Definitely overpronounced that. Okay, let's see who Jose Antonio Primo is. De Riviera. Spanish politician. Primo Riviera. I don't know enough about him. Let's read. Okay, right. Maybe we might move him up. Okay. So he's not Nazi High Command. I made a judgment because he was in the same. He was in the same row. Was the eldest son of the dictator Miguel Primo and founder of. Ooh. I mean, that's. That's not good though, is it? That's not good though, is it? After a university education military, Primo de Rivera began a career as a lawyer at 1925. In October 1933, he launched the Falange Española as a movement committed to the overthrowing of the government of the political parties if the left should manage to impose their policies. Yeah, I don't think he's. I say keep him there. I love how I started this with a rant about Karl Marx, and I was like, I don't want to talk about politics. And so far, I've had to explain why religious extremism is bad, and now we're looking at fascists. I should have made a tier list of my own and not had anyone past like Rome. Well, I mean, we should still look into him. This is what we're learning about. He expounded his fiery and rather nebulous fascist views in his periodicals. Oh, he was literally an early 20th century incel. He's just sitting there going, yes, fascism good. I love Andrew Tate. Okay, and there's this dad. He kind of looks like Tobey Maguire. Like, you know when Tobey Maguire is dressed up in Spider-Man 3 as Bully Maguire? King, I'm not putting Team Franco up there. God damn it, your trolling ways. But yeah, no, he looks like, you know, in Spider-Man 3 where you get Bully Maguire. I am. This is the real life version. This man, if you ever see anyone simp for Jose Antonio Primo de Riviera, Tobey Maguire, Bully Maguire meme. Rip Jose, you would have loved 4chan and Twitter. He's sitting there writing angry articles. He is a proto 4chan user. I don't mean any harm to 4chan. Please don't come after me. Okay, he's staying there. Mao, obviously, we know why Mao's there. Great famine, massive communist dictator, like massively evil. Did a little bit of the Schmenerschmeid. In like Great Leap Forward, censorship, total control, normal communist and fascist stuff. Obviously Goering. Goering's a complex character. He's still an evil bastard, but he's a complex character. Because I believe he either had a Jewish stepson, or he was raised by Jewish people. They're gonna be my FBI agent, or my MI6 agent, is currently sitting there. They've watched me Google Nazi High Command, and now several fascist figures. I'm on so many lists, man. Herman going, I wonder if it was a condemned to hang as a war criminal, lol. In Nuremberg in 1946, he took poison instead. What a wimp. And died night of his execution. Was ordered. Goering was born in Bavaria, the second son of the second wife, Heinrich Ernst Goering, at the time consul general in Haiti. If you know, if you know anything about Haitian history, you know a European being in Haiti is yeah. So he was always set up to be evil. The family. That's not me again doing any political stuff. That's just Haitian history. The Europeans 99% of the time are absolutely villainous. It's not like nuanced history you get in different colonial regions. This is hard to navigate without getting cancelled. This was a horrific idea, Ryan. Why did we do this? The family reunited in Germany. Blah 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 blah. I'm fairly certain that he had Jewish family members. Spoils from his Jewish collections. I know he stole a load of Jewish paintings. That doesn't surprise me. That is the Nazis' favourite pastime. Okay, I might be wrong. To be fair, this was a Netflix documentary. I was thinking about. Yeah. But yeah. Okay. Right. Image search. Oh yeah. No wait. Who's that one? This is probably the most in. This is the. Who are you? Your picture's really naff. He looks Nazi-ish. Ramler. Who's that? I see the uniform. Okay, right. We're on a chase now. There's going to be a World War II history buff in the comments after this live's gone up. I'm going like, Ramler is a band. I don't know who this geezer is. Can I get a better search images with Google? I just want that. There we go. Oh, Eildolf. I'm assuming Operation Finale. I have a feeling if this is who I think it is. It is. It's the one. This is also an amazing movie. Yeah. I fine. I accept Forbes. I accept. Are you happy now? I paused it. I paused it. How many adverts do you need, Forbes? Operation Finale turns 5 director. Right, yes. So Operation Finale, this movie settles around. So basically, he's definitely staying there because now I know. Yeah, King, we're gonna have to time you out if you keep going on about that, bro. Because I will get. I'm a free speech absolutist, but YouTube is not. So even though I directly disagree with what you're saying, YouTube will also take down my stream, and I'll get in trouble for it. So if you don't stop, you'll have to be muted temporarily. yeah, Adolf Eichmann is definitely staying down there. If you don't know, Adolf Eichmann was the curator of the Final Solution. Mossad went after him into Argentina, the place where all of the Nazis went and had their little holiday after the war. I have no idea what you're doing down there, but I'm going to close you. Played by Ben Kingsley, which is ironic because in Schindler's List he plays one of the Jewish men who helped Schindler, Oscar Schindler. For you, Kingdom, well, the best World War II movie is Schindler's List. Operation Finale takes place after World War II. But Schindler's List is an incredibly good movie to get you in the mindset of war. There is also there is a dual set of movies about the taking of Iwo Jima from both the Japanese and the American sides, which is also a very poignant war. A lot of the war movies I like are very, very poignant. I very much like Fury. It's more action-packed, but again, it goes on about like the actual horrors of war, the actual mindsets of the young men who were set out. Of the young men who set out and were like completely talking about war. Saving Private Ryan's good. It's just very historical, actually. I met a German guy in Argentina once. I assume you did. Another historical films ranking. That's a lot harder. I meant to be doing that with Aidan Thornberry of the Law Lodge, but we never got around to it. Okay, so Adolf Eichmann, yeah, the curator of the Final Solution. The creator of Final Solution. I can see Pumpkin Bear's finally heading up. Thank you, Pumpkin. Yeah, no, my mods like hunt and my mods have unwavering power, so any decision they come to I fully back. They know my stance is on like what is allowed in the chat. Right, okay, now we can get on to the actual good figures, and I don't have to read about fascists anymore. I suppose there's going to be more coming up, isn't there? I just don't want any more fascists. I went to time out. Ah, it's fine. Isabella of Castile, I was right! I was right! It is Isabella of Castile! Yes! Get in! Oh, I'm so happy about that. Yeah, Stanley is on there. Stanley, right, school history, right. My knowledge on Isabella of Castile is not amazing, though, but I am happy that I got the right person. Forbes, you can remove yourself now. You want orders? Follow this one. Isabella, learn to spell wrong. Isabella of Castile, former queen of Castile. She's obviously, yes. Oh, right. Okay, right. So it's we're not using you. We'll use Britannica because it's the most. Actually, history encyclopedia because that's actually written by people PhDs and stuff. Isabella of Castile was Queen of Castile and Aragon alongside her husband Ferdinand II. So she was one of the creators of Spain. Her reign included unification of Spain and the reconquest of Granada, based as anything, the completion of the Reconquista. So we're gonna start off. We're gonna knock you up B just for completing the Reconquista and reversing all of the Islamic conquests of Spain. Sponsoring Christopher Columbus. Oh no. Yeah. I have a very strong opinion on Henry VIII. Don't worry, guys. Henry VIII will be getting an opinion. Of exploring Christopher Columbus. Is Christopher Columbus on this list? Because I've disliked Christopher Columbus so much. Like when I get into the empires of like different empires have a lot of different nuances stuff. Like British Empire did a lot of horrific stuff. It also had the strongest anti-naval campaign, anti-slavery campaign of all of the other European powers. Like where it was actively going out and attacking slave ships of other nations. It basically decided, right, slavery's done now. It's disgusting. We're over it, and we're going to attack you if you do it. They went at France. They went at I think Portugal had already abolished it by now, but yeah. The British government, on the other hand, the British people were very anti-slavery. The entire, the populace of the British Empire was very anti-slavery. The actual British government, however, was slightly different and did dealings with the Confederate States of America. So it's not, but that again, that is where nuance is in. When you have British in India, where they're saying, "Hey, you can't burn women," and then they're obviously, obviously exploiting local populaces. So there is so many nuances. History Revealed is absolutely brilliant for breaking some of the myths of the British Empire, which is why I tend to refer to him, and I don't tend to go into it too much myself because I like to. I'm very much, if you watch my channel and stuff, I'm very people focused in my history. I like specific figures. I don't like overarching empires and stuff, because there is too nuanced then, and people have too strong an opinion, and it becomes too black and white. Whereas with people, I like people's stories. I think it's because I'm a storyteller. Naturally, it's easier to look at that. But I like looking at individual people or individual pieces of folklore, and I think that that's where the real piece of history lies. Not in an empire or a nation or a religion or a culture, in individual people and the cultures and empires and everything that's around them. That's important because it shaped them. But the actual story of mankind is written in individual people. So anyways, Isabella of Castile was born 22nd of April, 1451, in the town of Madrigal, the Atlas. By the way, if we can't do this all in one day, I'll probably go till like 8:30 now, because I'm just noticing we've already gone for half an hour, so I need to start speeding through this. Despite having two brothers, spending much time with her mother, Alvaro, she participated in more ladylike activities. Isabella was soon drawn in and involved with the Castilian political world. While there was no laws against women being on the throne, Isabella was third in line because her brothers were higher up in the succession line. Because, it's the normal stuff men inherit just before men do. The yardborn Tomyris was brought into the court of Castile when she was in her early teenage years so that her father could keep an eye on her. Isabella was well versed in Latin, based, and she studied history, based. Actually, I can't really put you up. The Columbus stuff doesn't just liking history doesn't really put you up. Back to beats here. She's one of the most famous figures in Spanish history. I'm just not that well versed in her, which is why we're reading about her. She was in her early stages when her father, blah, 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 studied, and which furthered her religious convictions, which would be extremely influential in her actions as queen in the future. Isabella's brother Enrique IV became king as Henry IV of Castile, rather, but discontent with his rule soon became vocalized. As the kingdom was dissatisfied with his ineffective rule. Henry struggled with producing a legitimate heir, as his first marriage bore no children, and his only daughter, Juana, apologies if I pronounced that wrong, was believed to be an illegitimate child. He was unable to win back Granada, which had been under Muslim control since the mid-1200s, and had a Jewish and Muslim advisors in place. The Muslim advisors probably weren't helping him to get Granada back. I just have a hunch. Damaging the image of Castile as a Christian kingdom. You have to remember at this point, religion was viewed very differently back then as it is today. It's very much more pivotal to politics. It still is, really, if we're brutally honest. The way especially American presidents and such treat it. I still need to put my epoxy link up on Instagram. Come say hi. Now we're past all the fascists, more people can come in. There we go. Share. I accidentally shared like a private story thing to my business Instagram the other day. It was my content creation Instagram. There we go. Marriage to Ferdinand. See, one of Henry's requirements, Isabella being his ear, was that she needed Henry's consent to marry. Isabella rejected all the suitors that Henry approved of and married Ferdinand II of Aragon. To Isabella, a marriage to Ferdinand was the best choice for Castile, as the marriage could possibly unite the kingdoms from a smaller region that had similar customs and law. From a smaller region that had the custom laws. Isabella sent Henry a letter asking for his permission, but he never answered. Isabella. And she didn't let this deter her and married Ferdinand in 1469 without Henry's consent. Very based. I like this woman. She's going to go on my list of women I want to do full videos on at some point when I get time. Henry and the nobles who did not want a man of Aragon in the Castilian court rejected Isabella's claim to the throne and attempted to name Henry's daughter Juana as heir. However, Isabella and the nobles on her side saw her royal lineage as anchor to rule over Castile. Since many speculated Juana was an illegitimate child, her bloodline was seen as inferior to that of Isabella, and she was not seen as a strong candidate. This division led to the War of Castilian Succession. I gotta love it. Gotta love it. A woman tries to make a decision. There's an entire woman makes decision. Man, starts an entire war just to say no. Although, to be fair, in this case, it's just a little bit of xenophobia, because I can understand why, because you don't want what they probably thought was Aragon, not Aragorn, that's Lord of the Rings. Aragon would begin like influencing Castile more and more and more, which wasn't what happened. Castile ended up influencing Aragon the most. Yeah, my brain's trying. Dionysius over on the TikTok side says that the Drevlians had a skill issue versus St. Olga. St. Olga was just so unfathomably OP that no one stood a chance against her. I don't know if she's in this list, but she will be an S tier figure if she is. Again, I think we're going to end up uploading this, and I've also checked it will save, so we can do these loads. And because I want to take time with this, and if this ends up being like a 12-part series, I feel like you guys would prefer that more, because we're learning about historical figures and stuff. Not long since blah 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 blah. In 1474, 2 days after Henry's death, Isabella proclaimed herself queen, while Juana and her supporters had military resources from Portugal. Through Juana's marriage, I don't want to diss Portugal because they're like the oldest English allies. Juana's marriage to Alfonso V of Portugal. Wait, so you got mad? Wait. You got mad that Isabella married someone in Aragon. You're getting upset that Aragon might influence the court. So you married your candidate to a Portuguese king. She's done the same thing. It's just in a different direction. What, are you scared of the east? You scared of moving to your... Depending on what way you're standing, left or right. I don't know. Why? I don't understand this beef. After securing the Castilian throne, Isabella and Ferdinand decided to join their respective domains. And in 1479, Aragon and Castile were united, and the two ruled as joint monarchs. Very, very based, very egalitarian. Isabella was perceived as an autonomous, I read that as automaton, so I've been playing too much Helldivers, ruler whose power stemmed from the strength of the Castilian throne. And yes, I see Pumpkin Bear saying she loves this in the chat. We will... I feel like I'm going to do it this way because I don't want to rush through it and then do the whole thing. I might as well save it each week, and then I can just number it and then put a different historical figure on the thumbnail. Because Baldwin is popular, I will add his picture in. Who stemmed power strength of Castile and France. She ruled Castile in her own right, and Ferdinand was simply seen as her king consort. The joint seal of Aragon and Castile had Isabella's arrows placed above Ferdinand's yoke, an indication of Isabella inserting her superiority as a ruler. What a badass! Oh man, she's so cool. Oh no, nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. Isabella strove to be an independent ruler, and this was evident in her way that her marriage and family life handled. When Isabella and Ferdinand disagreed, she often chose to speak her mind and her opinion rather than staying quiet and corrupted, as was expected of women at the time. In 1469, right, TikTok, hi. All TikTok, hi. Strong independent women of TikTok, this is a strong independent woman. She's married, but she's like, she knows what she wants. Like, she knows her limits. I'm just saying. Half you ain't Isabella of Castile. Most you ain't half or Isabella of Castile. Isabella, in 1469, Ferdinand and Isabella signed a marriage concession in which Ferdinand recognized that Castile belonged to Isabella and she had direct and sole control of her domain. He also agreed that he would never separate the children from Isabella and the monarchy's main residence would be in Castile. Wow. With these concessions, Castile and Aragon were united. Are you saying women should have... No! I'm saying that humanity, like, there is stuff you're not going to be able to pull off in life. Is Oda Nobunaga on the list, or Hijakatusha? I don't know, Dionysius. I think Oda's on there. If not, again, I'll add him. Because what we can start doing as we're going through this list is we can add people in. Additional add additional images are not saved to the website, but will be included in your download. I think it. I mean, it should stay on my thing. I mean, what I'll do is I can live poll. Interesting. I don't know. We can. I mean, actually, we'll add Baldwin in. There we go. And then actually, I wanna. I just wanna just. Sugar. I should have logged in. Probably take my login off the screen. To be fair, it's only my email. It's not like I'm going to get whacked out. I've just shot myself in the foot. I'm going to have to do the tier list again, aren't I? Historical figures. I think this is it. No, it's not. The greatest dictation that ever lived. I've messed up. This is where you will see my porn folder. I'm joking, I don't watch that. This one? Oh, I remembered! Wait! Has it kept Baldwin in there? No. That's not good. Okay. So it might not. So yeah. Okay. Right. Add Baldwin in. Will it keep Baldwin now? Because if I go to my account. Okay, so I have to. So it remembers the last one I had. Right. Unless it moved him up there somewhere. Right, I want to save it as is. History. I don't want to download it. I just want to save it as is. And then. See, does that start off? Right, and then save. Don't wanna download. Just wanted to save. Why are you only putting me as download? Does this mean I'm gonna have to remake it each time? I don't like where this is going. Okay, we'll figure it out when we come to it. As Isabella was a pious Catholic, wanted to build a united Christian kingdom. Who is god tier historical persons? Okay, god tier historical figures. Alexander the Great, Baldwin the Fourth, Tomyris, Ethelfled, the Lady of the Mercians, Queen Victoria, Qin Shi, possibly. She was a very powerful pirate. And Bonnie, Granny Mule, Winston Churchill, Duke of Wellington comes to mind. So non-Christians were eventually kicked out of Castile. She literally did the kick him out meme. She did the kick him out meme. Kick him out, kick him out. Many attributed problems of the region, now known as Spain, as a lapse in Christian beliefs. I'm not going to say anything. To alleviate these fears, Isabella and Ferdinand established a tribunal of the office. I know what might be. If I throw Baldwin in somewhere, will it give me an option? It won't, will it? Won't, because if I go back to me, because I want to, because obviously it's got history in it, like latest tier lists, and then it won't have Baldwin. What if I put Baldwin in there? So like if I take Max Res default and I put Baldwin up in his like little god tier slot. I don't know if we're gonna get to Teddy tonight, because he's 4-8, right? And then I instead don't save it. we go back to my account, and it should, hypothetically, when I go to edit, he's gone. Sugar. Oh, honey, honey. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to download the image each time, and then I'll build on it, and then I'll just remake it each time, I think is the easiest way to do that. We will finish off with Baldwin. What I might do... How long have we begun? Only 45 minutes, to be fair. Okay. I actually didn't think this through. That's really annoying. Oh no, it's giving me the save, but the second you add in, you can only download it. That's agitating. That is agitating. Right, okay, we'll figure this out as we go along. So non-Christian provincial kicked out, blah, 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 blah. To alleviate these fears, Illiber and Ferdinand established a tribunal of the Holy Office of the Inquisition, better known as the Spanish Inquisition in 1478. The Inquisition was tasked with being a secret police force for the crown, which also ensured power remained with the monarchy. Based. Isabella also initiated the extension of her and Ferdinand's authority over Alcantara, Calvatra, and Santiago. These terrorists were religious military orders and were governed typically by Castilian nobles who called themselves Grand Masters. These orders were being exploited by the Castilian nobility, and there were extremely tense rivalries between those who wanted to become Grand Master. Through Isabella's initiative, Ferdinand became the Grand Master of Calatrava in 1487, and the next few years he became Grand Master of Alcantara and Santiago. Wonder how she was doing in between her police work. Thus giving the Crown of Castile authority over the three orders. Wow, that is awful. Okay, I don't like the total authoritarianism there. The extension gave the Crown much control over the wealth of those areas and gave more land to Castile. Isabella furthered her... I'm not gonna lie. Right. I'm not gonna lie. For her, for herself and like that rise to power, that like the pushing through the stigma of the time, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty like based in how she's doing it. I don't like the total authoritarianism, but yeah. Amelia Earhart should be on there if she isn't. Joan of Arc is also another strong female. We're gonna I don't know how I'm gonna come to Joan of Arc because I kind of want to bully her because she's French. When Ferdinand suggested that the military take a break from trying to conquer Granada and place more, Isabella further created a united kingdom by finishing the Reconquista, which is serious battles to recapture territory from the Muslims. The reconquest of Granada in 1492 completed the process driven by her support and allegiance to the Christian cause. Isabella did everything in her power to ensure the Spanish victory. She financed the war. She stayed with the armies, giving them aid and moral support. Wow! So she was on the battlefield. Okay. When Ferdinand suggested the military take a break from trying to reconquer Granada and place more military emphasis on the weakened French border due to the French-Aragonese tensions, Isabella took charge and told Ferdinand that the armies would stay there to win Granada. Based. And Amelia became crowded food. Man, that's dark. The age of exploration. In Aragon, exploration of the Mediterranean expansion had already begun. To counteract this and grow the prestige of Castile, Isabella supported Christopher Columbus. Many other European rulers had denied Columbus as they believed his plan to be outlandish and his calculations incorrect. This was a gamble for Isabella, as she alone decided to support Columbus with all these monetary funds coming from Castile. I assume the undertaking from my own crown of Castile, and I'm ready to pawn my jewels and defray the expense of it if the funds of the treasury shall be found inadequate. The gamble paid off once Columbus, and then obviously history changed forever. What are we saying, guys? I'm thinking A tier. Right, now. Obviously, she funded Columbus, but literally everything else up to that point was absolutely amazing. I'm thinking A tier for now. I'm thinking A tier for now. I have mixed feelings to Joan of Arc because she's trans, and I got a meme. I'll send you of her. Excellent. Who we got here? Yeah, what I'm gonna have to do each time is download the image. I think this is. Hey, it's my list, but I said that I would give people for this is just someone's profile picture. It's not helpful, Google Lens. I have a feeling this is Edward the 6th or the 8th. The 8th. Like the regality of it. It's very English nobility. It's very English monarchy. So I feel like Edward the 8th, Edward the 6th, no, 7th. Edward the 6th, 7th. Edward the 5th, Edward the 6th, Edward the 7th. Damn it. No. Could be George. It could be Edward the 7th. This is fun. This is a game of trying to figure out who on earth is on this tier list. This is part of the fun. Yeah. Oh, I wish that you could see his face because then I'd be able to know, wouldn't I? George the 5th. George the 5th, 1911. Okay, cool. I had a feeling. Right, okay, so George the 5th. This is going to be controversial. I don't know nearly enough about George the 5th to really make a 100% educated decision on this one. For other uses, see George the 5th, disambiguation, George Frederick Ernst Albert. What caused George the 5th's death? Euthanasia. Oh yeah, was this the king? The injection resulted in the king's death. Do we have? Can I just have a George V? Just from midnight, January 20th, 1936. George V died in Sandringham, in Norfolk, England. His health had gradually declined over the previous few months because of chronic lung issue, and first appeared in 1928. He managed a last meeting with his Privy Council and Secretary before he grew too weak to continue. He used his last words to inquire after the state of the empire. According to the palace, that is a pervasive rumour that after being told he could recuperate the seaside town of Bognor Regis, the king's last words were bugger Bognor. I want that to be true. Oh, that's so based if that's true. That's so based if it's true. Bugger Bognor. As someone who's been to Bognor Regis on holiday, I can confirm Bognor Regis is a shitter. That's so based. As a second son of King Edward VII, King George V was not next in line to inherit the throne after its elder brother's death in 1892. He succeeded his father in 1910 and was crowned on June 22nd, 1911, just over 3 years before the United Kingdom would enter World War I. At the time, he was confronted by a divided parliament and industrial unrest and the task of replacing a resigning prime minister. This sounds really familiar. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Let's look at George V properly. He's George V. He's George V. He was the King of the United Kingdom from 1910, the second son of Prince Albert Edward, later King Edward VII. He served in the Navy until the death of his elder brother, Prince Albert Victor. So he's in 1892. Brought need for more specialised training as the eventual heir to the throne. created the Duke of York in May 1892, and he married in July 1893 Princess Mary of Teck. How are you doing, bud? It's a shame that she's not really. I don't really know her name. I've never heard her name until this exact moment, which is a shame. Obviously, I heard Isabella of Castile's name before. Who had been his brother's fiance. What is it with English monarchs, man? Or in this case, a German monarch sitting on an English throne. What is it about? Like, Henry VIII did this. Henry VIII got kept. Right, this is going to be my first Henry VIII rant, man, because we're going to be doing this a lot. Right, Henry VIII had an attractive Spanish wife in Catherine of Aragon. Right? Relates back to Isabella of Castile we just did, right? And she loved him, and I mean, she was head over heels, right? She was meant to marry his older brother Arthur, and Catherine of Aragon was head over heels for Henry VIII. I mean, she simped for it. She loved him, and till her last breath, he was off porking Anne Boleyn and beheading Anne Boleyn, and all that jazz. And she still loved him. She wrote him love letters, and I dare you to go and read those letters that Catherine of Aragon sent to Henry VIII during and after their divorce, and you will hate that man even more. Spoiler for where I'm going to put Henry VIII, because it's not going to be on the upper tiers. Why are you finishing 8:30? It's somewhere to be. Purely because I don't want the live to run too long. I might do it later. I might run later. It depends how into this I get and how many lists we get in, to be honest. It's not something I'm worried about now, because we're only at the hour mark, and I normally run for an hour and a half to 2 hours. So we might go later than 8:30. It was just an obligatory time. But yeah, so, like, she wrote him letters. Like, that man lucked out in life. He had a wife who, when the Scottish king attacked, she had him defeated and originally wanted to send his severed, I think it might have been his entire body, but his severed head to Henry to show, and all the English advisors were like, oh, you can't do that. She was like, you wimps. What do you mean I can't do that? Fine, I'll just send Henry his blooded coat to prove that the Scottish king is now dead. I maybe, possibly, potentially, might simp for Catherine of Aragon a bit. Fair enough, don't finish. I'm thinking there might be a part 2. I'm thinking there might be like a part 6. This is why I'm looking at like how to save it and stuff. And then obviously, because now I've got the base model, what I'll do at the end of every session, we'll add in one that we can't find. Like in Baldwin, in this case, we'll add in. And then yeah. Might see if I can just alter this and add in pictures. It's annoying that I can't. Yeah, it's annoying I can't add in and create my own tier list. I might have to create my own. I might have to do a bit of. If I get time next weekend, I might actually create my own tier list and add people in. This is the issue with adding people in. Do you know what? To save time, I might not do Baldwin today. I think it'll be easier if we get to the point where if we do their lists first and then we add in Baldwin. It also means I can keep Baldwin on the thumbnail for the next few weeks. Or I'll just add random historians in. I do want to do Baldwin, but I also don't want to then have to re-add him every week and recreate the list every week. Whereas I can save this at the moment. And then we can add, and then we'll add in others afterwards if they're not in the list. So, sorry, Baldwin, you're gonna have to move away for a bit. Right. Anyways, back to George IV after my Henry VIII run. As created Duke of York, after his father's ascension in 1901, he succeeded his father in May 1910, was crowned the 22nd of June, 1911. The formidable difficulties faced by the new king in his early reign were the constitutional struggle to curb the power of the House of Lords, which was unresolved, and the liberal government secured an undertaking from the king that should the Lords not yield, he would create sufficient new peers to overcome the opposition. After the liberal success of the election in December 1910, pardon me, the House of Lords relented and passed the Parliament Act, and the king did not have to fulfil his pledge. Respect for the king and George increased greatly during World War I, and he visited the front in France several times, very based. After World War I, the king was confronted by an outbreak of serious industrial unrest, and he was also faced a difficult decision of the resignation of Andrew Bonar Law in 1923, who was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. When he had to find a new prime minister, both Lord Curzon and Stanley Baldwin, who I believe did become prime minister, he did become later on. Churchill served in his cabinet, I believe. Yeah. Assuming you didn't get in, bud. Stanley Baldwin, I believe, is also the default, one of the default pictures you get in Hoi4. I think you can have Stanley Baldwin in Hoi4. I'm not sure. But also ironic that we got a Baldwin in there. Habsburg was among the elder statesmen from whom George consulted, but believing Baldwin had more support in the Conservative Party and that the Prime Minister should be in the House of Commons, the King selected him. George. TikTok's complaining inactivity because I haven't pushed some buttons quick enough. There we go. Are you happy now, TikTok? Napoleon first of all, Bonaparte's great. Napoleon's a mid. All of the Bonapartes are mid. That's gonna get clipped and be thrown around. People get mad at me. But having Baldwin had more support in the Conservative Party, and the Prime Minister should be in the Court of Commons, the King selected him. King George was seriously ill, so hasn't. I'm gonna unless I'm missing a lot of stuff that he did. Have you listened to the musical? It's a musical about to be sung about the sixth wife. Also, Henry VIII is bottom tier. I don't know if he's quite on the par with the Nazis. Also, I sent you in that chat. I'll check it out after the stream. Actually, I'll check it out now. What's the Joan of Arc meme? The angels said it would be so slay. But to be fair, I don't have that many strong opinions on Joan of Arc. I mean, she reminds me a lot of Katniss Everdeen. George V, I'm not gonna lie, she's not like he did. He gained a bit of popularity. He's just not giving me as much oomph. I mean, maybe there's obviously there's a lot of I'm missing out on. I don't know. This period of history, is just not spoken about as much, and I think that's a real shame. It's one of my weakest points. Like I'm very good at English and Scottish and Welsh monarchies, and monarchs, but I do fail when we get to more modern history. I'm gonna put him B tier because he did go to the front in World War I. I think that's pretty based. Right. Search images with Google. Who next? I want one that I know that I can actually start yapping about. Francesco Pizarro. My guy, why is Baldwin not on your list, but Francesco Pizarro is? I have to add Baldwin in manually for you. Okay, right. Who is this Francesco Pizarro? I'm assuming he's Italian. That's why I pronounced it that way. It's Spanish again. Okay, yeah, Francesco should have given it away. Died as a Spanish. Ooh. Ooh, I really like the Incan Empire. So, bud, you're really not off to a good start, but we'll carry on. Pizarro was the illegitimate son of Captain Gonzalo Pizarro, and Francesca Gonzalez, a young girl of humble birth. He spent much of his early life in the home of his grandparents. According to legend, he was for a time a swineherd, a not unlikely possibility since it was a common occupation for boys in that region. He had doubtless participated in local manorial wars, and when these were ended, very probably went to fight in Italy. Certainly in 1502, he went to Hispaniola, modern Haiti, and the Dominican Republic with the new governor of the Spanish colonies. So he was just committing war crimes and crimes against humanity straight away. Pizarro had little inclination towards the settled life of the colonizer. He was an apparently unambiguous man, would be trusted in difficult situations. 3 years later, acting as captain, he participated in an expedition led by the explorer Vasco Núñez de Balboa. At this point, I'm just offending every language group possibly with my pronunciations. That was credited with the European discovery of the Pacific from 1519 to 1523. He was mayor and magistrate of newly founded town of Panama, accumulating a small fortune, discovery and conquest of Peru. It was not until 1523 that he was some 48 years old. Pizarro embarked on the adventure that would lead to his lasting fame. In partnership with a soldier, Diego de Almagro, and a priest, Hernando de Luca, he made preparations for a voyage of discovery and conquest down the southwest coast of South America. Many hardships were endured along the Colombian coast during the first 1524 to 1525 and the second 1526 to 1528 expeditions. Bartolome Ruiz, who joined Pizarro and Almagro, for the latter, sailed ahead and crossed the equator, encountering a trading raft carrying embroidered fabrics and precious metals from Peru. He returned and led the expedition as far south as Ecuador, and Pizarro and others remained on the coastlines whilst Almagro was sent back to Panama for reinforcements. New government in Panama, however, sent back orders that if I was history daddy, I would have blown all the speakers. You're such a strong man. At this point, Pizarro is reputed to have drawn a line on the ground in his sword, inviting those who desired wealth and glory to cross it. The famous 13 who did cross the line continued their exploration of the coast as far as 9 degrees south, obtaining distinct accounts of a great Indian empire, as well as many Incan artifacts. I'm assuming they mean Incan. Is that a misspelling, or is it because they accidentally thought they were in India? Which is why you get the name of the West Indies. They christened the new land Peru, probably a corruption of Viru, the name of the river. Finding the governor of Panama still opposed their new promising enterprise, the explorers decided that Pizarro should go to Spain and ask Emperor Charles V, Charles I of Spain, for permission to undertake conquest. Sailing in spring of 1528, Pizarro was in Seville, at the same time as Hernan Cortez, the conqueror of Mexico, who famously took out the Aztec Empire, and was able to win Charles over to his scheme. He was decorated and granted a coat of arms, and in July 1529 made governor and captain general of the province of New Castile for a distance of 600 miles, for 965 kilometers in South Panama along the newly discovered coast. Pizarro was invited with all of the authority of prerogatives of a viceroy, and Almagro and Luca were left in subordinate positions. All the famous 13 received substantial rights and privileges in the new territories. Joined by 4 of his brothers, Pizarro sailed Panama in January 1530. By January of the following year, had set off, were ready to set off for Peru. He set sail with 1 ship, 180 men, and 37 horses, being joined later by 2 more ships. By April, they had made contact with emissaries of Atahualpa, Emperor of the Incas. I'm assuming the last Emperor of the Incas, the way this is going. Atahualpa, I apologize to everyone currently living in South America for my horrific pronunciation of that name, who was residing near the city of Cajamarca with an army. This is where my Essex accent does not do me any favours. An army of 30,000 men. Somewhat scornful, Pizarro's small force. The Incas accepted a proposal that the two leaders meet in the city. Arriving in November 15th, Pizarro immediately set up his artillery and sent his brother Hernando out. Hello's message go. Thank you, Pumpkin. Oops. Right. Arriving on November 15th, Pizarro immediately set up his artillery and sent his brother Hernando, another Spaniard, to request an interview. After a day of tense waiting, Attibulla, born on a litter, entered the great square of Cajamarca with an escort of between 3,000 and 4,000 men, who were either unarmed or carrying short clubs and slings beneath their tunics. This is like in War of the Worlds, where the heat ray comes down on the artillery for the first time. Just press button, please, until we accidentally ended the live. To extort the Inca to accept Christianity. To be fair, I'm not gonna lie. If I was one of those 13 guys and I was like, okay, right, what we do? I'll reach in fortune. By the way, we're gonna go and we're gonna be surrounded by this this Incan emperor. There's 13 of us, and I'm gonna try and convert him to Christianity. I'd be like, I don't want to die. I don't know. This is your plan? I mean, obviously, I don't know how the fact that this works. I know how this goes down. I do remember this story. I just didn't remember the name. The fact this works is possibly one of the strangest events in history. And Charles V, as his master, Atahualpa disputed both the religion and the sovereignty of the Spaniards, and after examining a Bible offered by the priest, flung the book to the ground. Vivaldi reported these events to Pizarro, who immediately ordered an attack. The astonished Incas were cut down from all sides, but I'm assuming because of the cannons, and Pizarro himself seizing Atahualpa. Atahualpa was held hostage and failed to win his release, though he fulfilled a promise to fill the chamber. This story is very famous. This is slightly different to, I'm probably crossing over Cortez's one as well with the Aztecs. I think the Aztecs had an enemy army available. No, he fulfilled a promise to fill the chamber in which he was held with gold and silver, and accused of ordering the execution of his brother Huascar, Incan chieftain. Cool. And the plan to overthrow the Spaniards, Atahualpa was put to death by strangulation on the 29th of August, 1533. With news of Atahualpa's death, Incan armies surrounding Cajamarca retreated, and Pizarro progressed toward Cusco, the royal capital, which was occupied without struggle in November 1533. The Spanish declared Mano Capac, Huascar's brother, as Inca. For the remainder of his life, Pizarro was engaged in consolidating the Spanish hold in Peru and in defending his and his brother's share of the spoils. A certain enmity and rivalry developed between him and Almagro as a result of Pizarro's overriding powers from the King of Spain. This contravened a solemn agreement between the original three partners that the spoils of the expedition should be shared equally. Almagro at one stage seized Cusco, but was persuaded by Pizarro to depart for Chile, over which he had been granted extensive powers by the king. Disappointed by the poverty of that country, however, he returned to Peru, where he was made prisoner and later executed by Pizarro. Wow, so he betrayed his old friend. Quite a lot of a dick. Francesco Pizarro, meanwhile, was in Lima, a city that he had founded in 1535, to which was devoted to the last 2 years of his life. Almagro's former adherents had grouped around Almagro's son in Lima, where they were confined and watched. Suspecting that they were to be eliminated, they decided to move first, attacking Pizarro's palace on the 26th of June, 1541. Pizarro died that day, a protracted death, drawing a cross of his own blood on the ground, kissing it and crying Jesus as he fell. It's pretty deep. There's a lot to unpack there. You achieved a lot. He altered history. I'll give him an E tier. I'll give him an E tier. Sorry, babe. History Daddy is streaming. I have to leave. Exactly, Wooly. Good to see you over on TikTok side. I'm really running out of mental steam now. Where are we? An hour 14. I'll go for at least an hour and a half. That's the issue when I'm reading as well and when I'm doing this, because I'm having to think. And it's hard to... The reason I don't want to go for too long is because I know I'm going to stop be entertaining soon, because I can feel like the... Ugh, kick in. No, streaming isn't hard, Hassan. You just get a little bit, tired and stuff. And I don't want to sit there and watch a TV show while I eat popcorn. Hassan. This is a call out. Fight me in the ring. You won't fight Sam Hyde. Fight me. Who is our next victim? Hernan Cortez! Why? That's helpful. We were just looking at Spanish people. Why is this grey? Why is my internet going funky? Still getting green bars and everything else. That's weird. Hernan Cortez, the former governor of New Spain. I don't know why that's gone wrong. Get rid of that. Right. Hernan Cortez. Assuming going to be very similar storyline. Cortez was the son of Martin Cortez de Monroy and Donna Catalina Pizarro. Alt Marino. Everywhere. Names of ancient lineage. Yeah, I'm assuming so, considering it's already popped up on another geezer who also did basically the same thing. They had little wealth, but much honor, according to Cortez's secretary, Francisco Lopez de Gomara, who tells how at the age of 14, the young Hernan was sent to study at Salamanca in west central Spain because he was very intelligent and clever in everything he did. Gomara went on to describe him as ruthless, haughty, mischievous, and quarrelsome, a source of trouble for his parents, and certainly he was given to women. He was a man whore. He was a little bit of a slapper. Frustrated by presidential life. I bet he was. He must have. I bet he was fed up with every single father, and aggrieved fiance and husband in a nearby area wanting to kill him, probably, and excited by the stories of the Indies. Given that text, I can't help but feel like there's a very high chance he was just perved out at the potential idea that there's more women on the other side of the planet. So we're already assuming he's a bit of a perv as we're going into this. Just much given to women. And Cortez is everything Andrew Tate wishes he was. Wishes he were. The audio is much better here. Is it better on TikTok or YouTube? Apologise if it's wonky on the over on the OBS side. Could I suggest a historical figure? We will do suggestions. I'm going through the list as it comes and then we'll add in historical figures. Overall, I'm probably going to do this in like 8 or 10 parts. I'm not going to lie. Given the fact that it's 8:20 now, and we have like the only reason we got through this list so quick was because it's default. Years in Hispaniola and Cuba. For the first 6 years or so, he seems to have been content with his established position, contradicted to I wonder how he contracted syphilis. It's a complete mystery how he contracted the syphilis. YouTube's too quiet. Might be my noise cancellation. There we go. That might fix YouTube now. I've yanked that in and out. That normally reboots the noise cancellation a little bit. Where are we? He set out for East Coast port of Valencia, where with the idea of serving in the Italian wars, but instead He wandered idly for nearly a year. Yeah, doing what? Uh, as a result, he missed the ill-fated expeditions of Diego de Nicosia and Alonso de Ojeda, which sailed for the South American mainland in 1509. By 1511, he had recovered, and he sailed with Diego Velázquez to conquer Cuba. There, Velázquez was appointed governor, and Cortez clerked to the treasurer. Cortez received a repartimiento, a gift of land and Indian slaves. That's not very nice. And the first house of a new capital of Santiago. He was now in a position of some power and a man of whom dissident elements in the colony began to turn to for leadership. Cortez was twice elected accolade mayor of the town of Santiago, and was a man of in all he did in his presence, bearing, conversation, manner of eating, and of dressing, gave the signs of being a great lord. It was therefore to Cortez and that Velázquez turned when, after news had come of the progress of Juan de, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that surname, it will just be grossly offensive, efforts to establish a colony on the mainland. It was decided to send him to help, probably because he was absolutely petrified that Cortez was about to take his own position. An agreement appointing Cortez Captain General of a new expedition, which was signed on October 1518. Experience of rough and tumble. Yeah, I got that. I'm understanding that he does. Yep. Perv. Rough tumble, New World politics advised Cortez to move fast before Velázquez changed his mind. His sense of the also, I apologise for being obnoxious in YouTube comments. I am just being silly. That's chill. That's fine. As long as you're not, attacking anyone in YouTube comments, it's chill. Where was I? His sense of dramatic, his long experience as an administrator, the knowledge gained from so many failed expeditions, above all his ability as a speaker, gathered to him 6 ships and 300 men, all in less than a month. The reaction to Velázquez predictable, his jealousy aroused. He resolved to place leadership of the expedition in other hands. Cortez, however, put hastily to sea to raise more men and ships other than Cuba. Expedition to Mexico. When Cortez finally sailed for the coast of the Yucatan, fun fact about the Yucatan Peninsula, here we go, something I can talk about. I used to love, in fact I still love dinosaurs quite a lot. As you can see, T-Rex, he's called Alfred, because T-Rex stands for tyrant lizard. Rex obviously, means king. Ignoring the tyrant section of that statement, we have possibly one of the greatest kings in English history, the King of Wessex, Alfred the Great. So I named him Alfred because Rex is Latin for king. There's a Lego T-Rex, which for some reason has a spine on its back. Don't know why. Lego just decided it does. And then I've got my birth name with a light up T-Rex. Dinosaurs. But the Yucatan is where the meteorite, the asteroid, one of those, the big rock from outer space, slammed into the earth and wiped out the dinosaurs in excruciating pain. It was like a ton of nukes going off. So that was not fun for the dinosaurs. I can't say that they enjoyed that, if I'm brutally honest. But yeah. So Cortez. Where's my stream gone? There we go. There's a lot of here to read. I'm fairly certain. Where is the Aztec bit? Because I'm fairly certain. Set up for the Mexican interior, relying on sometimes on force, sometimes on amity towards local Indian peoples. But always careful to keep conflict with them to a strict minimum. The key to Cortez's subsequent conquests lay in the political crisis within the Aztec Empire. The Aztecs were bitterly resented by many of the subject peoples who had paid him tribute. The ability of Cortez as a leader is nowhere more apparent than his quick grasp of the situation, a grasp that ultimately gave him 200,000 more Aztec allies, the nation of Tlaxcala. See, the issue is, and I can actually speak on this more than I can on the Incas. I really like the Incas, but the Aztecs screwed up because when you kidnap a bunch of people and you take them to the top of a pyramid and cut out their hearts in sacrifice to your god, you tend to upset every single other group around you. And that's what happened. So when the Spanish turned up, they looked like, say, because people often see colonialism as Europeans turn up, power is assumed, the indigenous population suffers. It's very much not. Often there is indigenous allies because they see these people come in like, we can get rid of the person we don't like, which is a tale old as time. Rex is ironically king. Yes. Reminds me of how car comes from karting. Might just be like, not cool, bro. But yeah, that's the. I've lost my train of thought now. But yeah, so when the Aztecs had so many enemies, it was very, very easy for the Spanish to come in and just completely derail the operations. And as we're about to see, the nation of Tlaxcala, for instance, which was one in the state of chronic war with Montezuma II, the ruler of the Aztec Empire of Mexico, resisted Cortez at first, but became his most faithful ally, rejecting all of Montezuma's threats and blandishments to keep them away from Tenochtitlan. I apologize to Mexico. Or the capital rebuilt as Mexico City after 1521. Cortez entered the city on the 8th of November 1519 with a small Spanish force and only 1,000 Tlaxcaltecas. In accordance with the diplomatic customs of Mexico, Montezuma received him with great honor, and Cortez soon decided to seize Montezuma in order to build up the county, not only political conquest but also religious conversion. Fidel Cortez soon heard of the arrival of a Spanish force from Cuba, led by Panfilo Narvaez, to deprive Cortez of his command at the time, mid-1520, when he was holding the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan by little more than force of his personality, leaving a garrison in Tenochtitlan of 80 Spaniards and a few hundred Tlaxcaltecs, commanded by his most reckless captain, Pedro de Alvarado. Cortez marched against Narvaez, defeated him, and enlisted his army in his own forces. To be fair, that's pretty badass. Just sitting there like, not only have I kicked the shit out of you and your army, I'm going to now recruit them. On his return, he found a Spanish garrison in Tenochtitlan besieged by the Aztecs after Alvarado had massacred many leading Aztec chiefs during a festival. Hard-pressed and lacking food, Cortez decided to leave the city by night. The Spaniards' retreat from the capital was performed, but a heavy loss in lives and most of the treasure they had accumulated. After 6 days' retreat, Cortez won the Battle of Otumba after the Aztecs sent over the Aztecs sent in pursuit. He finally rejoined his Tlaxcalan allies and reorganized his forces before marching on Tenochtitlan in December 1520. After subduing his neighbours' territories, he laid siege to the city himself, conquering it street by street after its capture was completed. On the 13th of August 1521, his victory marked the fall of the Aztec Empire. Cortez had become the absolute ruler of a huge territory extending from the Caribbean Sea to the Pacific Ocean. In the meantime, Velázquez was mounting an insidious political attack on Cortez in Spain through Bishop Juan Rodriguez de Fonseca and the Council of the Indies, fully conscious of the vulnerability of a successful conqueror whose field of operations was 5,000 miles, 800 kilometers from the center of political power. Cortez countered with lengthy, detailed dispatches, 5 remarkable letters to the Spanish King Charles V. His acceptance by the Indians and his popularity in a relatively benign ruler was such that he could have established Mexico as an independent kingdom. Indeed, this is what the Council of the Indies feared. But this upbringing in a feudal world in which the king commanded absolute allegiance was against it. And in later years, his chills. So, I mean, he's a clever man. I don't like the Aztecs. on the opposing spectrum, right? I liked his tenacity. I like the fact he was able to take out the Aztecs. I don't like what his existence would cause. And I don't like the authoritarianism. I do understand why people allied with him, yada yada yada. And it's a very interesting, nuanced political discussion. But we're gonna put him on C, just because that is an insurmountable task that he shouldn't have been able to achieve, and the fact that he had to take the Aztec capital, Tenochtitlan, street by street, shows his tenacity and his sheer will to get stuff done. Which is just interesting to me, really. That does leave us perfectly on half 8, and I think everyone has dropped off. King Neptune from SpongeBob is the best ruler. That's very true, actually. King Neptune from SpongeBob is very true. Shall I leave it here, or shall we go? I think leave it here, maybe. Yeah, I think we'll... Yeah, I think we'll leave it here. We're disappearing out now. And also my voice is starting to waver. Because I've just been yapping this entire time. And we've got so much of the list left to do. We're nowhere near done. So this is going to be a long series. And I'm... yeah, and now I know I can just save like this. Great tier list. Ep 1. And I can just save it on the website and I can pick it up from here. If I was to add in Baldwin, I would probably schmack him. There. And we'll get into reasons why in a future episode. I think, like I say, now I've thought about it more. I was planning to do it. Well, now I know how the system works. I think clear this first, and then we can add in our own ones, because I will know specifically more about them, so I will be able to specifically speak on them, and I'll be able to get through them a lot quicker. And then so I think once we've gone through the list, we can then add in community stuff. If there's any questions before I go, speak now for Hold Your Peace, as usual. Thank you to everyone for joining over on TikTok. Does my liege originate from allegiance? I'm not sure. I do like linguistics. We will look into that at some point. Remember what drives you, History Daddy? It's the grand escapade. I'm so confused. But yeah. Thank you all for joining. I want to be effective, and I think going over a 2-hour show, I'm starting to become like a regular sort of streamer, you know. But I thank you all for watching as long as you did. Yeah, the viewers started dropping off towards the end. Probably because I'm reading so much, and so I wanna get into more historical figures. And obviously, with the Spanish conquest of the Americas, I was able to speak on it a bit more because I really do like the Incan Empire. I love the Incan Empire. It's such a glorious piece of history that's often overlooked, because the Aztecs are just boring sacrificial murderers, whereas the Incas were ingenious inventors who were often overlooked because the like Hernan Cortez was a lot smarter than Pizarro was. Hence why I know Cortez's name and I don't know Pizarro's name. But yeah, so starting next week, I have a funny feeling that this geezer is also Spanish. Yeah, Ferdinand II of Aragon. So we'll be looking at Isabella's husband to start off next weekend. Yeah, so as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.